Hi guys, welcome to the Thinking Crypto channel. I hope you're doing well. On this channel, we cover the crypto news and we interview many of the folks who are building and investing in the crypto asset class. Smash that thumbs up button. Let's get to over 500 likes. Leave a comment below and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Guys, I want to talk about the OCC, Brian Brooks, Ripple, and XRP. And I've covered this topic in some videos just recently. I talked about the Ripple timeline and how that is back on track. So if you saw this video about a week ago, because of the recent green light for banks to custody crypto from the OCC, and that phase 2, the payments charter, which is set to be released this fall from the OCC, will be phase 2 that will give Ripple more of the green light, or I should say the banks in the US the green light to leverage Ripple ODL, which leverages XRP for cross-border payments. So why am I making this video? Well, I found some interesting documents on the OCC websites submitted by different parties, including Ripple, that talks about what is happening right now. And this goes back since 2015, 2016, that timeline, essentially telling the OCC you need to give a green light across the board so that banks can leverage digital assets and virtual currencies, which once again, that's XRP within the Ripple ODL platform that banks can leverage. So I'm going to go through those letters, but just to set the platform here, the big move that really benefited Ripple and a lot of cryptocurrencies is Brian Brooks being sent to the OCC. Steve Mnuchin brought him over, and he was at Coinbase. So this guy knows about digital assets and cryptocurrencies, right? Obviously, he worked at Coinbase. And we saw his first major move for the crypto market was giving the green light in July for that federally chartered banks and thrips may provide custody services for crypto assets. This was a groundbreaking, big time news, big move here, right? This benefits the entire market. But of course, it starts the process. It gets the ball rolling for Ripple and XRP. So we saw Brad Garlinghouse react to that news very happily, right? And that's, of course, a big green light as to why this is important for them. He said, boom, today's ruling from the is a huge step forward. The OCC is absolutely leading the way to foster innovation, protect consumers, and provide a level playing field for all. Remember that wording there, level playing field. The future has never been fiat versus crypto. These can and should coexist in harmony. Now, Stuart Alderati, who is general counsel at Ripple, said the following. He was very happy about it. Very welcome news from Brian Brooks at the OCC and the OCC today. This is a significant hurdle crossed to bring digital assets into the mainstream financial system with regulatory approval. So you really got to read between the lines here and obviously take these words seriously. Mainstream financial system with regulatory approval. I'm putting emphasis on this because the letters we're going to review that were submitted to the OCC since 2015 these things are now coming to fruition. It's amazing to see the timeline here. And what's interesting, guys, why is this even relevant? Well, like I said, phase 2 is that payments charter 1.0. And as you can imagine, there's going to be further iterations, right? But Brian Brooks just last month was on a podcast and he talked about it, right? The OCC is planning to introduce payments charter 1.0, which would effectively be a national version of a state money transmission license. So this is big because it's going to streamline the whole licensing requirements for any company that participates in, and let me read it out for you here, the following activities: lending, taking deposits, or money payments. And this is the key, this phase 2 for Ripple to be able to have the banks leverage XRP, because this will give the full blanket green light here. It doesn't matter if you're a bank or some half a bank or part of a bank or some lending company or some payments company. This will give the green light because right now you have New York has a BIT license and Texas has its own license and this state has its own regulatory thing, right? Wyoming is crypto friendly. So it's all over the place right now. Also, you have the different forms of government, the different sections, CFTC, SEC, and so forth, that are have their own really definitions and rules for different cryptos, right? So this will really give that blanket coverage here. And as you can see, Brian Brooks mentions it. He says, the functioning as a national platform regulated by the OCC and not have to manage holding 49 plus different state licenses. As I just said, New York has its own, everybody has its own. So this will be the green light here, the blanket that will cover the United States, that will give the green light to all the banks and different types of payment companies that will benefit XRP, because these companies don't have to worry anymore. They can operate freely and they can leverage Ripple ODL. And one of the things I want to call out, guys, it wasn't the SEC that we needed the green light from. For years, many of us thought about that, right? We thought it was the SEC, but it's actually not. And it goes back to videos I've made in the past where MoneyGram, which is a partner of Ripple, has been submitting their respective filings with the SEC, as all companies do. And they've been clearly stating that they are leveraging XRP. So if there was some issue here, a regulatory issue, then the SEC would shut it down, right? I think that's pretty clear. So, they mentioned here in their filing Form 10K, in June 2019, we entered into a commercial agreement with Ripple Labs to utilize Ripple's on-demand liquidity ODL platform, formerly known as XRapid, as well as XRP, to facilitate cross-border non-US dollar exchange settlements. Pretty clear here, right? Why hasn't the SEC stopped this? Because the SEC has nothing to do with it. These payment companies actually have more of a green light than the banks. And that's why that payments charter is so critical, because it will open up the floodgates for the banks here, right? Into XRP. And there's multiple documents on sec.gov that clearly state this, that MoneyGram is utilizing Ripple's ODL platform, guys. It's clear as day. Once again, the SEC can shut it down if they want, but they have not, because the MoneyGram and Ripple and XRP are not breaking any laws. The problem is banks don't have the same green light as these payment providers. And what we saw recently, Brad Garlinghouse literally tweeted this a couple days ago, where he talked about over 24 customers are on board with ODL, including MoneyGram, GoLance, Via Americas, FlashFX, Azizmo, and the list goes on. But notice there's no banks. There's no Santander there. There's no Bank of America, which are partners with Ripple, right? Why is that? Aren't these banks sending cross-border payments? It's because there's different regulatory clarity for banks versus these payment providers, right? These money transmitters. So the money transmitters are the easy part, but they don't have the volume as some of these big banks. So that's, once again, I'm going to bring it back to Payments Charter 1.0. That is what we need. And as you can see from the first phase, right, of banks being able to custody stuff and Ripple's reaction on that, it's pretty clear. Now, let me take you to the documents that are on the site. First is from the law offices of George Frost. And I read through these documents. They are real. This is from January 15, 2015. I mean, wow, right? So he says here, I am an attorney with experience in the nascent fields of cryptocurrency, the blockchain, and other emerging developments in the world of fintech. I formerly represented Ripple Labs as its first general counsel. Now, keep in mind that title right there, general counsel. And currently represent Bitstamp, Ltd, London-based trading platform, et cetera, right? So one of the things he brought up here, we are also working closely with another firm, Global ID, in developing an identity solution which will provide consumers with trusted credentials that they can use to hold, send, receive, and convert and spend money in a way that prevents fraud, money laundering, and terrorist financing. So AML, KYC, and so forth. What does that remind you of, guys? Yeah, Pay ID, which Ripple is a big part of. Right? See some of the puzzle pieces connecting here. Their vision and the plan was outlined long ago. They've been talking. Their different legal folks have been talking, and the people from Ripple have been talking to the OCC trying to get this going, right? And they talk about GateHub in here and all kinds of different things, and essentially looking for that that green light to have a level playing field for payments across the board. Okay, let's jump ahead. Here's a letter from Ryan Zagone, May 30th, 2016, by electronic submission, right? Submitted to those guys. So supporting responsible innovation in federal banking system. Ripple is a technology company that provides financial institutions, et cetera. So you guys know about that. But look at the different things they highlight here. Inconsistent and uncoordinated regulatory approaches, fragmented, outdating licensing regimens. So what did we just talk about? Different states have different license, right? Ripple's operating in the U.S. and needs the green light in the U.S. So he goes into those respective topics, and let me read some of it here. A primary challenge to innovating in the U.S. is its inconsistent and uncoordinated approach to regulation. When numerous regulators take various and at times conflicting views on a new technology, it creates uncertainty and slows innovation. And, he's essentially saying, the CFTC is doing their own thing. The SEC is doing their own thing. Here, he mentions it. Yet, various regulators' uncoordinated approaches to these technologies have resulted in conflicting guidance and market uncertainty. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission defines the technologies as a commodity, right? FinCEN regulates the tools as a currency, right? And the IRS regulates them as a property. So which one do you follow, right? And here's the key line here. For banks and technology companies, let me repeat that. For banks and technology companies that seeks the benefits of these technologies, they are burdened with navigating these uncoordinated and conflicting views. That is why there's no Santander and Bank of America using Ripple ODL yet. See what's happening here, guys? And of course, he mentions digital assets and virtual currencies and all that. And these can be used for FX and financial transactions, settle cross-border payments more quickly. So pretty clear what's happening here, right? You look back, this is from 2016. So let's jump ahead now. This one, guys, this one is from who? Jesse Chen, Deputy General Counsel at Ripple. Who is the current General Counsel at Ripple? Stuart Alderati. So while the people themselves have changed, the role still exists. And remember, Jess Chen, she now serves at the Federal Reserve Board, right? Formerly Ripple. And she's the one that tweeted out that photo, a very famous photo of Brad Garlinghouse hanging out with the people at the IMF, right? Ross Lacow, Christine Lagarde before she went to the ECB, and a lot of these regulators. So I hope you see the connections that are happening here, and I'm not making anything up. It's pretty clear what's taking place. So she submitted some letter here along with Ryan Zagone tagged in this, essentially asking the OCC, hey, can we get the green light? And this is in January 13, 2017, exploring special purpose national bank charters for fintech companies. And they really have been trying. They've been knocking on the door here, submitting their letters, right? And they've been asking for these regulatory clarity items for a while. And like I said, many of us thought it was the SEC, but it's actually the OCC. So Ripple appreciates the OCC's transparent and deliberate exploration of potentially granting national bank charters to financial technology companies and strongly supports the OCC's continued focus on reducing regulatory uncertainty and facilitating responsible innovation. Advances in fintech continue to nimbly respond to changing needs of consumers, communities, businesses in a diversity of enhanced ways. So notice what she said here. National bank charters. Once again, what is the payments charter looking to do, guys? Give the green light across the board to banks and anybody Ripple. If Ripple wants to, actively be in the lending business, they can, and all of that, right? That's why this is so crucial, in my opinion, connecting the dots here, right? Especially when you see what has already been green lighted by Brian Brooks and the LCC. So going off of that momentum, Ripple's reaction, the general counsel, Stuart Alderati, and you see the general counsel at that time, Jess Chen, was pretty much asking the same thing, like, hey guys, give us the green light, right? So Ripple's been engaged since 2015. These are documents on the OCC's websites, official documents. You can go pull them up. I did a search here and pulled them up, guys. You can do the same thing. I'm not making anything up. These are not fake documents. So there's even more stuff here where different folks have submitted a lot of letters and so forth talking about Ripple and XRP, and you can go read it up, guys, where they talk about here, in contrast, XRP, the native currency of Ripple, is effectively a fiat currency at its inception. Ripple Labs. So you see the dialogue around Ripple and XRP has been happening, different people submitting letters, but I think it's pretty clear this is the government institution that we need the green light from, or I should say Ripple needs the green light from, for these banks and different payment companies to leverage XRP. That's the key, in my opinion. I hope you guys see why that is and the facts I've shown you. And once again, I'm looking at the OCC, what they're doing. I'm looking at the reaction from people from Ripple. I'm looking at the letters that were submitted, right, to the OCC. So very interesting. I haven't seen any letters like these submitted to the SEC, just the normal filings, right? And once again, if it was under the SEC's control, well, why haven't they stopped MoneyGram from leveraging XRP and these other companies Brad mentioned, right? So pretty clear about what's happening here. And guys, that is why XRP, and once again, I'm not an XRP maximalist, I diversify. It is my number one holding. I believe there's game-changing technology here, the likes of a Google and Amazon, that type of disruption taking place. I absolutely believe that. Having grown up, well, I shouldn't say grown up, I guess maybe my adolescent life, yes, in the 90s, and watching the dot-com boom and looking how the internet and different internet companies change things, I believe Ripple has a game-changing technology here, guys, and I believe this Payments Charter 1.0 is the next phase, the next key here. Brian Brooks seems to be on to move forward here. I think he knows what he's doing, and there's talks about Payments Charter 2.0 would follow about 18 months after 1.0 is launched. So 1.0 once again is coming in the fall of 2020. Let's see what happens here, guys. I think we will see some good things for XRP. Fingers crossed, and I'm hoping it happens, guys. What do you all think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Did I miss something? Leave your thoughts and comments below. Share this video, thumbs up, and I'll talk to you all later.